What's up, everybody? It's another episode of the WrestleZone wrap-up. We have so much content. I think we put out maybe 15 different podcasts in the last few weeks or so. Imagine how much we're going to have out before WrestleMania. That's right. We're like just over 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, 2 nights, and we're going to cover all the announced matches so far, the orders of those matches, and a whole lot more. If you're watching live, get your comments on screen. If you're watching on demand, get your comments in there as well. A change to NXT. It's going to move off Wednesdays. It looks like it. And we have a change as well in NXT Tag Team Champions. Share that link. I was trying to say share that link so you don't stink, but I was interrupted by our theme song. What's up, everybody? I'm Kev Kellum. Mr. Dominic D'Angelo from WrestleZone is with us as well. Let's do something today. Let's challenge the viewers. Let's challenge the hardcore WrestleZonians. Every single one of you share the link. You don't have to do it on your own page, your own social media. You can do it in a group. You can do it with other people and challenge your friends to come in here with a wrestling take that's better than your take. Maybe they're going to watch it on demand. I don't know. But we have a lot of news coming out of last night's Monday Night Raw involving WrestleMania. The card for the biggest wrestling show of the last few years is coming together. And whether you like it or not, this is clearly the biggest wrestling show of the pandemic era so far. This is the return of live fans to a major wrestling show in the United States. This is a big deal. And a lot of the card is starting to come together. Some people like it. Some people don't. There's plenty, I think, that's strong and can be built upon in the next few weeks. Dominic D'Angelo, what do you think of WrestleMania so far?
We were talking it off the air. I think the top 3 matches maybe for each night are pretty good. I like Drew and Bobby. I think that'll be a great match. And then Roman and Edge with the Daniel Bryan tease is going to be, I think, very really, really good. And Bad Bunny in the singles competition. That's very intriguing. Because typically you have those talents, when you bring in a celebrity talent, you're bringing in that celebrity to give a rub to another star. So you'd think like Damian Priest would be, tagging with them. But I think it's kind of interesting that they're putting that, at least at the moment, they're putting in that much confidence that, hey, he's capable of handling a singles match, which makes that match stand out on its own even more. That Bad Bunny is just doing a match by himself right now. We
already have people talking to us about the Hall of Fame news. We'll have that in a few minutes here. But we're just dusting upon the news here of what is going on with WrestleMania, biggest show of the year. Now it's interesting. They're going to have Edge versus Roman on night 2. I was hopeful, and I've been saying this for weeks, especially playing off this weekend's Fastlane, that they've now made Daniel Bryan look like he has legitimate stake at being a part of this WrestleMania program, and he was robbed. Remember when he was robbed in 2014? He made a champion tap out, and Edge says, no, I earned the Royal Rumble spot. Obviously, he has the Royal Rumble spot, so they're going to find a way to get Daniel Bryan in this world title picture, right?
Oh, they have to. Yeah, I think Edge's trajectory since the Royal Rumble has not been very good. They put him in a position where he's he said some not likable things, and it put him kind of not in an engaging way where, it's engaging to an extent, but it's not Edge okay, we're rooting for him to get over on Roman, where I think a lot of people still in the back of their minds really had Daniel Bryan banking on him winning the Rumble and all that kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of that still going on. And so I think it's a necessary piece to this match is having Daniel Bryan involved. So whether that's a 3-way or it somehow turns to be a 1-on-1, I think it'll probably be a 3-way. It's the right thing to do at this moment in time.
Yeah, different takes on this. Let me know what you guys think in the bottom comments as well. Get on screen. 18 days away from WrestleMania. We are not that far away from it. We will have one person I know, our very own John Clark, will be there. He got tickets. If you actually got tickets to WrestleMania, let us know. We want to know what the experience is like. We know there is a long safety protocol document that's been floating around the internet. You have to sign to get tickets and different things like that. I do think this will sell out. I do think this will be. Yeah, I do think the show will sell out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's 25,000 people. This isn't the previous number we were hearing was they were shooting for 45. 25,000 is doable. And the secondary market for these tickets is really high already. So
I have my questions though, because just the price point starting off. I think it's pretty.
You thought tickets would be cheaper, but hey, summer Super Bowl wasn't cheaper. People still paid full price for the Super Bowl this year. So I just think it's the risk. It's like, do you understand that people you want to give them an easier window to buy tickets, or is it, hey, you haven't had anything in a year and we know there's a built-in demand. So there is that toss up and there's that debate going on across the board in live entertainment. So we'll see how things go here. People saying, what is this? They want more Bryan because he tapped out Roman. That is true. This past Sunday, Daniel Bryan tapped out Roman Reigns. He is the American Dragon. This is the fire they need. There were some weird things because he had Daniel Bryan lose on TV to Cesaro, and he lost to some other people, and he talked about winning the Royal Rumble, and he lost clean.
Yeah.
But I also think that's the way he wants to do things too. Like, oddly, I think he is one of those guys in WWE that has creative stroke and can say things. And he's been a consultant on SmackDown Creative for about a year now. A lot of people don't know that, but he's not booking his own angles. And he's been talking about this being like, yeah, I'm not going to retire, but this may be the last time you really see me on a big level. And so I don't know. I think there's something intriguing about that, even though you have Edge coming back from like 11 years for the most part on the shelf. So it'll play out interestingly. I do like what they did with Raw last night. A lot of times people think the creative decisions on Raw are critical. I enjoyed a majority of Raw last night. There was some stuff that was off, but Bobby Lashley now has put an old school bounty. You gotta love this if you're an NWA fan. He's put a bounty on the head of Drew McIntyre, and if you take him out, you get his WrestleMania spot. I don't know where Bobby Lashley got that power, but he has put a bounty as a businessman. He's a businessman. He has put a bounty on the head of Drew McIntyre, which I think is going to create some interesting things on Raw in the next couple of weeks. If they do a real mountain climb for Drew to get back to the title at Mania.
Yeah, it's like trying to think. It's almost like when you have a video game and you're being hunted, like almost like Grand Theft Auto or something. There's that intrigue of when is it going to happen? When am I going to get attacked? So, I think the best person to take the bounty would be Bobby Lashley himself because he's shown that he's able to kick some ass. So, like approaching the guys that they had in the locker room. No offense to any of them. But they haven't really been positioned in the way we're like, okay, yeah. But
here's why I like it though, because for that exact reason, that then goes to this deep bench that WWE has. They have a lot of world-class talent that will not find themselves in a featured role at WrestleMania, even though the show's 2 nights. It's just the way the things are. There's just spots, and there aren't spots to be filled by everyone, and not everyone gets to be on the biggest show. It happens in AEW as well. It's just a matter of the way things are. And I think with social media, everyone just shouts so much, so it must mean something. When it still means something, it's just the echo chamber of anger is a little bit louder. In this regard, I hear people saying, oh, what are they doing with Ricochet? He was in that shot where he went into the locker room and he looked at people and he said, there's a bounty on Drew McIntyre's head. You get his match if you do this. Drew Gulak is a world-class wrestler and a great personality. And some people say they haven't done something with him. He was in that shot. I'm like, if they do, even Drew like beating these guys, but if he gets to be in competitive matches with a handful of those dark horse studs they have in WWE, that's cool. That gives those guys something. They're in the mix. They're in there with the challenger for the world title at WrestleMania, and that has them playing a supportive role. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's momentum. That's escalation. That's what you want 3 weeks out from the biggest show of the year.
No, it is. I mean, to that point it is, but it's also like with those guys, it's all about following through with it, and WWE is not the best with following through.
They start some things hot, and how do you keep it going? But I also like that. As much as people say, "Oh, how come they waited so long?" Because they announced, they confirmed a lot of matches we knew were going to get confirmed
last night.
They waited until last night. And people are like, why did they do that? I was like, my thing is it doesn't operate the way it did 10 years ago. They have these pay-per-view specials. They're now behind really a subscription model, which is they want to keep you subscribed month to month. So, yeah, things are going, but now for sure what you're going to get at WrestleMania. And if you're a casual fan, Bad Bunny's going to be in the big celebrity showdown match with Miz. And, that may lure you in. And the idea is to balance and spin the plates. The hardcore fans, the casual people that come in once a time a year, or these people who've never seen WrestleMania and are just checking out because Bad Bunny is there. And the guy who's on that USA reality show are going to have a match, There's plenty of different challenges with WrestleMania. But I do say this. I know people angry about the Peacock move. WWE Network moving over to Peacock. There are some issues with it technically in terms of people having issues with it. What do you think of the move of WWE over to Peacock so far? We will be running an interview, hopefully this week, with Grace Randolph. She follows the entertainment industry pretty well, and about the streaming differences. We taped this a month ago. I'm looking forward to see how this settles in, and hopefully, there aren't as many hiccups as people may have reported. It was fine for me.
I was going to ask you, how's it been for you? Like,
I mean, you don't have that linear DVR model that was really great about the WWE Network when it started, specifically with live pay-per-views. I got home at 6:15. The pay-per-view started at 6, right? You can just pick it up from the beginning, right? It doesn't have that. I do think eventually it will. There is some I've heard some people say, when it started, I couldn't get it from the beginning. I had to wait until the replay. I don't know how that works for everyone. That was not the case for me. I could literally pick it up live.
You could pick it up live.
I could pick it up live, but I couldn't pause it in real time. I couldn't pause it in real time like you can on the network.
And you couldn't. Could you start it from the beginning though?
I don't know. Mind you, I was already covered. I was watching on my phone on the network as I was getting home, and I got home and I was like, let me just check it out on Peacock and see what the stream quality is like. Stream quality was perfect. And it was nice. You just flip it up like a channel, and it's right next to a bunch of. I've had Peacock for a while, so it was kind of okay with.
That's one positive I heard about it was the streaming was much better already right off the bat in comparison to the network.
Yeah, but that could be internet issues for every individual person too. So
I that's what I did hear about it. I haven't messed with Peacock. I don't have Peacock yet, so I don't know. I can't give my take on it, but
it's worth it. $5 even with ads. It's probably
sure. No, I love The Office and a lot of other stuff on there. So
also when I got it through my cable. So I got it as just an add-on. If you have Xfinity cable, Comcast cable, you likely have this.
Yeah.
So and it's also if you want to get it without ads. We have some people texting saying they haven't switched over yet. I think it's pretty cool. It's the fact you get all the SNLs and it's WWE with all these other things makes.
They don't have the archives though, right, Kev? They don't.
They have a lot more than I think people were expecting them to have. Especially when we reported a few weeks ago, we caught wind of it. It got confirmed to us by the right sources that WWE was not going to have the full archive over when they moved over to it. I think that's a music rights issue, which was a big reason why you would see some things on the network when it opened up that weren't there and then were there, and they have to edit the music. They can't use it on the NBC Universal platform. So I think that's the case. Everything from the archive will be there before SummerSlam, but they have every WrestleMania. They have almost all the new first run docs that they're putting out. I think that's really not as big an issue, but for the hardcore diehard fans who are like you or I would get it just because I want to watch Mid-Atlantic from 1983.
That's because I wanted that accessibility. I'm if I don't tune into the network that often, it was nice to know hey, I can always watch the Mid-South or I can always watch.
That's all going to be there.
Hopefully, I'm nervous. For
but I'm saying I trust a source from NBC Universal that's saying it's all going to be here before SummerSlam. And I think it's more of an NBC issue than it is a WWE one because WWE Network is still going to be available internationally. If you want to do the VPN thing, you can, and there's a way around it. And it's not illegal to do a VPN. It's not illegal to do that. And it's fine. And also, if you want to do the commercial free thing and you're mad about ads, you just pay $10 and you get all the extra stuff anyway. I just think it's a hiccup. I don't care. It's fine. I hear it from enough people, but let's talk about this. WWE Hall of Fame news. We've heard rumblings of this for a couple of days now, and it is unfortunate. It's the COVID-19 really messed everything up here. We were going to get a big induction from Batista, one of the biggest wrestling stars the last 10, 20 years or so, and it appears he will not be a part of this year's Hall of Fame ceremony at his own personal request. And these are due to obligations he has in his film career. Reportedly, he's working on a film overseas. He would have to go through a quarantine of a certain period of time through the insurance of those things. That's a major reason why you're not seeing John Cena have a role at this year's WrestleMania, as far as we know. And the reason for that is internationally, once you're there for months at a time. There is no flying back and flying back forth. There's insurance reasons for that tied to movies. So it's also why I don't think you'll see The Rock involved with WrestleMania too. And he wants to wait until he can really do this in front of fans. It's a big blow to the Hall of Fame, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it is. I think he was the headline guy,
he was the headline guy.
So but I mean, you still have they just announced Eric Bischoff and they have the NWO. They have British Bulldog.
It's not a bad class. It's not a bad class of people at all.
It'll be, I'm very curious how they're going to execute it, considering there's more inductions than what, it typically is. And a lot of the... It
makes sense, though. It makes sense that if Batista's off, that they added people.
A lot of and it's 2 years worth, pretty much. So, but a lot of it, a lot of the criticisms of these ceremonies is that they're really long. So how are they going to squeeze everything in is what I'm very curious about.
I think this is a year because, there's been no advertising of doing this event with fans, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't get any inclination that it will be done with fans. I'm of the sort where I don't think this is an event that always needs to be done with fans. I've seen some older Hall of Fames from when they started it, where they were privately done in a hotel banquet room, and they were done more as like this roast, and it was a ceremony privately amongst the company. It was formal, and it was fun, and people cheered and stuff like that. But we've seen Hall of Fames where fans want to get their chants in, that are lifelong fans, that want all the goofing and stuff like that. And there's some great fan service at this. This is certainly a fan service event. You love Razor Ramon. You loved his speech, what the bad guy, like that line he finished with. And when Jake the Snake went up there and said, we masturbate people's emotions. Like those were special, special moments if you're a lifelong fan. And if you're not into that year's WrestleMania, you're just a lifelong wrestling fan, you're still checking out what happened with the Hall of Fame.
And if you love your mother, like you're a big Mr. T speech enthusiast.
Great moment. Hilarious. In terms of people like wanting to get pulled off stage, Kane having to come out and just be like, "Come on, man, you gotta, we're putting the hook on you. We gotta go here."
Hillbilly Jim too. He had quite the.
Did he get red? Did he get a wrap upside too?
I don't know if he got the cane like getting him out of there, but he ran a little bit long. Let's just say. But you gotta think though. This is like their big final moment in front of a lot of people. So obviously they're gonna want to make something of it. So. You can't really fault the person getting inducted for wanting to do a lot of that stuff.
Harold is texting. I think they're recording it on Tuesday. That would be Tuesday, April 6th, I believe. I'm not exactly sure on that date. It's the Tuesday of WrestleMania week, and then airing it on Wednesday or Thursday. No, that is not the case. It is airing on that Tuesday, just so you're clear. So this is an insane week plus for WWE. I think this is a hardcore get Peacock. You're going to get much more than you want out of us. And here, we don't have the library. We don't have all of the back end library, but here's every WrestleMania and a whole lot of stuff in 1 week. Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. Tuesday, the Hall of Fame. Night 1 and 2 of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, Wednesday and Thursday. Night 2 of that will be exclusive on the Peacock Network. Night 1, Wednesday, will be on USA Network. Friday night on Fox Television before WrestleMania. 2 nights of WrestleMania. Then the Raw after WrestleMania. And then NXT possibly moving to Tuesdays. That is a week. There's an insane week plus of wrestling. Truly a festival of wrestling. A WrestleFest, if you will.
Yes.
A WrestleFestivus. But the Hall of Fame here is a big deal. And we have, some people who always bring this conversation up of who needs to go in the Hall of Fame. But there is some rumblings today of a certain high-flying superstar of ECW fame making his way into the Hall of Fame, Rob Van Dam. Are you a Rob Van Dam fan? You want to see him go in?
Oh, sure. Yes, I am. I love Rob Van Dam. Yes, I think he's very well deserving of it. And I think, that's a really great name to have to add it to this list because, he is that unorthodox, against the grain, type of style of wrestler that people really attracted to in the late 90s and is still has that ability to engage a lot of those casual fans back into it too. So RVD is awesome. And the thing is RVD can still go too. So it's pretty neat to see. I'm definitely for RVD in the Hall of Fame.
Just the ECW run alone would be worth it. And also that stuff in the mid 2000s, which mind you got deterred by, getting pulled over right after you won the world championship and getting popped for an illegal marijuana charge. Illegal at the time. Okay. Illegal at the time. But this guy won a lot of titles and had a Grand Slam championship run. Say whatever you want. And then also had some success and impact afterwards as well. Sure. Well deserving. I also think he'll give a very fun, entertaining speech.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think he can give one of those speeches that will really sneak up on people. This is a shout out, tip of the cap to Fightful. They broke this story. It is not yet confirmed by the company. This is around the time of year when we start to hear about a Hall of Fame induction name or two before it comes out. If Batista's not on the card, they just added Eric Bischoff, Molly Holly, the names we already know we're getting from last year. This is a pretty strong class. I'm looking forward to some of the speeches. I'm looking forward to them doing this without less fan interference, and I mean that in a good way. Do they want to Thunderdome this thing up? Thunderdome this thing up, man. I think this is fine in this circumstance. Maybe you don't have people running on stage, like we had to do with last year. People supporting this idea in the live chat. They would like to see this here as well. Yeah. And then we've heard rumblings of this the past few days. Mick Foley, who's in the Hall of Fame himself, has been open about saying who he thinks should also be honored there. And recently he has gotten behind the charge of Lex Luger. Lex Luger will be featured in the upcoming documentary series Icons from WWE. I've seen one of these. They did one on Yokozuna. It was really well done. This is kind of like an idea of like, let's look at some big names that aren't with the company and not do the where are they now thing, but what they did when they were their name and in a good way. And I like it. Smart stuff. And they do have one coming out on Lex Luger, who's dealt with some really serious health problems post wrestling career. But I would love to see Luger get the honor. Don't you think he's Hall of Fame worthy?
He absolutely deserves it. Yeah, from both the perspective of WCW and of WWE, like WWF, when he was, not only, the narcissist, but the All-American, like Lex Express, So, and, Vince really, really was behind him for quite that amount of time to like position him as the next Hulk Hogan, but there was that, the battle of, Bret Hart getting that spot and, with the fans wanting Bret Hart more than they wanted Lex at the time. But to say, Lex's impact on wrestling, I think he's a very worthy candidate of being in the Hall of Fame. And Mick is totally on point to make that, that's what I like. Mick always goes for that. Like he will fight for the underdog when it comes to, somebody that doesn't get some notoriety or anything like that. So, very good on Mick to do that. So, I think Lex is absolutely worthy.
I agree. I think it could be some entertaining stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Chris Janke saying Tommy Dreamer should go in before RVD for the Hall of Fame since he's been there way more in ECW than RVD. See, this is you do have those fan debates of like, how are you putting this guy in before this guy? Like, but it's also a Hall of Fame class is built sort of like a show. You know what I mean? And there has to be names that go in. Like, so are we going to get another big name inducted that's at that Batista level who isn't, is this where we go and say, hey, CM Punk, you want to go in the Hall of Fame and go give a speech and talk some shit about WWE? And move the needle? I think that would be the craziest thing they could do.
Holy smokes, that'd be nuts.
I'm sorry, I literally just thought of that ridiculous harebrained idea. Don't say the WrestleZone guys said CM Punk's going into the Hall of Fame. Please don't do it.
Well, you can say Kev, you just don't say
no, because then I'm getting an email from I'm getting a very aggressive knock on my door from across town in Chicago. who does not want that there. That's gonna be there as well. But I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. It's gonna be a lot. You have to pick and choose what you watch.
It's definitely a lot.
There'll be something you miss. There'll be something you miss.
I think fans like the simple fact that they're having fans back in attendance is going to create more intrigue even for the viewers at home.
Absolutely. It'll be the thing that gets WWE the most attention that week. And also you mentioned the shows they're producing. We're not even aware of like the late show TV night bookings. So you're going to see a handful of those. They'll do the daytime talk shows as well. They'll be on a bunch of different popular web shows, any popular YouTube channels, lifestyle ones and stuff like that. You'll see
WrestleZone.
If they pick up the phone, let's do it, dude. Let's get on board here. We've had some WWE people on. We just had Big E supporting his.
That's right.
Our Heroes Rock show just last week. So we're in some regard. Back when we could have people in the same room in late 2019, we interviewed some big names. So it was all right. We're not opposed to it. Go check it out. You just did a great interview with Doug Williams, by the way. British wrestling legend returning to the game after some years off. That's available on our feed. We have Eric Bischoff, 49-minute interview with him, where he didn't even give us a scoop. Come on, Bish. Come on, dish on the scoop about the
I don't think he was aware.
Maybe he wasn't aware at the time.
I don't think he was, honestly.
But yeah, so we have plenty for you guys to download in the feed. Also, I can talk about this now if you're with us, where we're doing housekeeping things and controllers are falling down. You guys can still win one of these. I bought a stack of these Road to WrestleMania activity and theme books. Let me flip through it here. Let me read. You want some trivia?
Give me some trivia. Give me some trivia.
All right. Here, I'm going to show you some of the costume, and you have to tell me who that person is. Can you see some of the feet here? You see some of the feet there?
Oh, right, so is that Fandango or Rico?
That is Fandango. Yeah. So like, it's fun, like stuff for kids, but it's also obviously we're children because we like wrestling already. So if you guys want to win one of these, I'm mailing these out right around WrestleMania time. So we've given some away. We have some action figures I can't reach. I would have to fall off of the chair that I'm on to get them. We're giving those away. So if you guys watch the show and share the show, we're going to be sending those out to random people that share the show.
Kev's also sending personalized photos of himself too, along with the
virtual photos.
No, personalized.
Personalized.
Yes. We're doing the WrestleZone mail calendar for this.
We do. We have 8x10s.
8x10s. I'm just like at my computer desk with my shirt off, like typing.
Just randomly. Just randomly with your shirt
over my shoulder.
Let's get into the big NXT news. Now, I know you are head lead correspondent on everything AEW. And obviously, for an AEW fan, this is something where you pay attention to what NXT is doing. You want to know if that competition is going to be there on the other channel. And we got some big news for them. We knew there was some leaked information about WWE, as we've heard now for months, moving NXT along with their broadcasting partner, NBC Universal, which owns USA Network, off of Wednesdays to Tuesdays. And it appears like that is a possibility as production schedules for NXT have moved different nights. Now, the show is still presented live. Could it be taped on Tuesdays is a possibility and continue to air on Wednesdays. There is a distinct possibility as the case, but the information is out there. The full report is up right now on WrestleZone.com. But does this appear like NXT is going to move to a different night and kind of let the night breathe for fans all around the clock?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty clear indicator. They're jumping away from it, and not in a negative fashion. I mean, I think it's ultimately going to be beneficial to them. Like, you know, it's just I can't watch NXT live and, you know, when I'm covering Dynamite. So it's like there's going to be a lot of people that, you know, make that decision. And, you know, part of the ratings, I'm sure, is evident of that they make the decision to watch one over the other. Mm-hmm. So now you have that potential audience to be like, okay, well, now I can watch NXT. Let me give this a try. And it's an opportunity for WWE, or mostly and specifically NXT, to kind of cultivate more of an audience and get regular viewers on that watching rhythm instead of like fighting back and forth for viewers on a Wednesday night. So,
and you also have the outside the wrestling bubble problem of NBC's. They're getting rid of their sports channel. So Are they going to be moving stuff? And USA Network isn't sports exclusive. But they're definitely beefing up different things they're doing with their sports portfolio, which has some NHL in it. It has some NASCAR racing in it.
That might change a little bit because NHL's made that huge deal with ESPN.
They have that big ESPN deal, but that splits up their game. So the other that isn't the complete NHL portfolio. I know some people rushed to that and thought, oh, NHL has all of that. No, that's about half. So the other half is still available. And there's some certain things that we get involved in that. Also, I'm of the point, just following our industry, our wrestling world, let it be on two different nights. Who cares? I really, really don't think it's as big a deal as it is. You can continue to do this and keep a certain bubble on where AEW is in terms of a growth. But I honestly think if you're an AEW loyalist, the reason you're excited about this is so you can say you won, right? So you can say you won the Wednesday Night Wars. We had to push them off the night when that really isn't the case. This is something where your partner wants to do something. You don't control your network. Same problem happened back. We just celebrated the anniversary of WWE buying WCW, just about 21 years ago. And WCW would have continued to be on television if the company that was dissolving it and selling it out of their company said, like, yeah, we won't own WCW, but we'll let it stay on our network. it would stay on. People would have bought it. Eric Bischoff was leading a group of people to buy it. And once they realized they weren't going to have a TV slot, there's no case in that. This isn't USA and NBC saying we're done with NXT as a show. This is them saying we want it on a different night so we can do other things. That's it. There's not much more. I know we can get analytical and say this. And also on top of it, AEW has an edge, and you know this. It's a big wrestling show that isn't WWE. And if there is so much wrestling, you give me an option that isn't them, but I can watch it on a different night that isn't Friday or Monday, I'm going to go there. And I get the appeal of it in that regard. And it's a great wrestling show. This is good for wrestling all around. Everybody wins. The fans win. Everybody wins.
You get to watch. I think consistently NXT is the best WWE product they have going. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to put your best foot forward? And I think NXT is a lot of that a lot of the times because, I think that's really what attracted a lot of people and gives more people that intrigue to talk about where could we see guys like Karrion Kross or Adam Cole? Like, where are they going to go now? Like, it's just like more engaging characters that you can kind of hit on to. So it's good for wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And obviously this is good for AEW because now they don't have anything that kind of like they can get to a bigger level. I think NXT is going to have more viewers because of this, because they are fighting for a very different portion of the audience. They're fighting for the hardcore.
Yeah.
So this is good for everybody all around. Bad news for NXT. They've had some really bad injury issues this year. I mean, some very, very bad injury issues. Karrion Kross had to drop a world title because he blew out his shoulder in the match where he won the title. Okay. Kyle O'Reilly got injured in his big title match with Finn Balor. Finn Balor got his jaw broken in the match, nearly had to drop the title because of it. So that's all happened since the summer. Now we get wind that Danny Birch, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, blew out his shoulder in a televised main event match this past Wednesday. And this is forcing the NXT Tag Team Champions of Danny Birch and Oney Lorcan to vacate their titles. This confirmed today online. Just bad luck for them, huh?
Very bad luck. And you make it's like, and it's a very much like, I don't think this is not a WWE specific thing. This is like an industry worldwide thing where it's like, there's a lot of injuries happening, and I think it's more of a combination of wrestlers not working as much during the pandemic. So, injuries can tend to happen, but also these wrestlers are too, just the way the style has changed over the past years too. I think it's just like that. And, bad luck. It's like all that in tandem with it. It's just like, man, you want to see, it's a bummer because you get these stops and, unnecessary or unfortunate stops with these wrestlers, where, Danny Birch and Oney Lorcan have been a really solid tag team and good heels. And, obviously Karrion Kross was packing a punch right away. And then, that gets taken away for that brief amount of time. And then, Finn Balor obviously is, you got to try to utilize him in certain, make those accommodations. It's tough. It is tough. And it's a, plus you, not only that, but you had the COVID experience, incident going on where they had to take, make those adjustments too. So it's just,
and you have wrestlers out there performing with that. They live off that adrenaline. They live off that adrenaline, or the crowd literally can get you through some things. I've talked to many, many wrestlers. I'm talking about wrestlers that are in front of 200-300 people that are breaking themselves practically on stuff that they're working on. And then are in this situation where you don't have that to go to. And in some cases you do, but we all know it's not the same. It's as good as we can get it to what it will hopefully be by the end of the year, but it's not the same. And you always hear them going to that other shelf of energy when they're dealing with something, and that isn't there. AEW's done the right thing. 1,300 fans now in Daly's Place. WWE has the Capitol Wrestling Center. The Thunderdome is one of the better virtual things. So it's just a challenge to get over, and hopefully the injuries don't really affect them. But where do they go with the tag team titles now in NXT? Where would you like to see them go? What would it maybe, as an AEW guy, lure you over? Oh, they have something there. They could pull a trigger there. I think there's plenty of tag teams that NXT has that they can go to, like a grizzled young vets, like the MSK, if that hand injury issue they was dealing with solves themselves, or maybe some team pops up on NXT and shakes it up from Raw and SmackDown. Exactly. A lot of possibilities here.
That's what I was thinking, is you bring in some talents that maybe aren't being utilized too much on Raw or SmackDown, and you incorporate them who's been having like an alliance is like Chad Gable and Otis. Like bring them in.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I would love that. They're NXT guys. You know what I mean? They're pure NXT guys. It would be a really cool thing. I would dig that completely.
If you do, you can find some good ones. Like, even New Day. Like, say if they drop the titles I'm sure you're not going to want to wait this long at WrestleMania, but like you have them come in and vie for some championships or something like that too. Or like, hey, want to collect their quote unquote collect the belts? They come in and like have an opportunity or something. I
have no issue with, we talk about, people that aren't utilized for WrestleMania this time of year. They don't have a slot, finding themselves something on NXT. You know, I mean, I have no problem with that at all. If a Ricochet got added to an NXT TakeOver show, he's still a Raw guy, but like he's going to do like when they had Kevin Owens pop in for War Games, or something like that. I would have no problem with that. Just to shake it up. You already know him. You're already a super hardcore fan. You're following NXT, right? More casual people follow SmackDown and Raw. I would love that. I'm okay with it. And you have 2 nights of NXT. There's a lot more possibilities there.
For sure. Yeah.
So plenty to cover. We got a lot going on, a lot of content for you to consume here. Michael texts in saying Raw needs tag teams more than NXT. I think you're kind of right in that regard.
Yeah.
You didn't put AJ. You put AJ together with his henchman Omos for a WrestleMania tag team match, which I think will be better than people are saying. There's just been some people critical of that.
I think. Look, you got 3 talented workers in AJ Styles and in Kofi and in Xavier Woods. I mean, obviously Omos is not like, he's a big presence, but he's not a very, he's very green. So it's like you can create a very good match still out of that. I think, it's just unfortunate because, WWE has had the, over the course of several years, the tag team division is always underplayed, and it's you see a lot of great potential for tag teams. We just mentioned Otis. Like, I would have really loved to see Heavy Machinery have the opportunity to kind of show more of them, like get themselves over even more, because Otis was a hot act, and you can just feed that off in a tag team channel instead of Otis being singles. And I feel bad for guys like Tucker. Like but I think specifically Otis and Heavy Machinery, they just got those fantastic organic live reactions. At the end of 2019, early 2020, it was just bad timing. You get lost in the mix. And I wonder who would be in these positions if we had real organic fan reactions that could change things with live shows, but we don't. So it's a hurdle. Some things, and you see too, without having the fan reaction and stuff like that. Vince would probably mostly base a lot of his booking decisions too off of how the fans reacted. So if you don't have that, and Vince is kind of like, you're just letting him to his own devices, where it's just like
strictly social media. Then it's strictly social media.
Or what, and kind of just to what like Vince likes. So it's like if he's not a big focus on somebody, or he's not into somebody, he's going to go to somebody else or some other way to market them. So a lot of different factors coming in, and this pandemic's been beneficial to some talents like Bailey and who like you can name a list, but it's been very detrimental to a lot of the roster too. So
we're talking obviously everything going on with WWE. We've kind of talked about what the card they put together here, but I like this comment. Jason Michael Campbell's with us on so many different shows. JMC in the WZ. Thank you so much. He says there's many legends that will not have a match at WrestleMania this year. I saw it going around Facebook. Be the worst WrestleMania in history. Here's the reason I'm going to argue that. I don't think this even needs to be the best WrestleMania you've ever seen. That's a talk every single year. Is this better than the biggest shows we've ever seen before? And we sort of touched on it, and it seems like I'm writing off this argument. There are a lot of big names in the last 10 years or so. They've built it up for The Rock comes back. Brock Lesnar is here. This person is returning. You're getting Edge coming back. So you're getting him back in a big role. And also this is a 2-night thing. The attraction this year is live fans. The attraction this year is live fans. That is irrefutably special. That is a special time right now. I think the second you hear the roar of that crowd on Saturday night, it is going to feel cool. I think the most coveted match that anyone wants on WrestleMania right now is match 1 on Saturday night on that main card. You want that. You want to be the first person to walk out there in front of 25,000 people. I think that is a big position to be in. And that is when the crowd is going to be so excited to be there live. Boo the bad guy, cheer the good guy. Let's get back to fundamentals. You know what I mean? And I think that is special in its own regard. And I think fans will just be excited for matches. In that regard, maybe the ceiling is lower, but I do think that is the fun thing, and people will forget all of this stuff once the bell rings and the show starts and they can feel that energy.
And there's a couple points to this, I feel. Yes, fans coming back. I think that's a big thing. But you also have the factor of you don't. So WWE, it's a tall order to fill. Like after a pandemic, it's a tall order to fill to say that this is going to be it's not going to be the worst WrestleMania in history. I don't think so.
No,
I think that
on paper, this is better than some WrestleMania.
There's exactly. And I think like even you know, if you're even just going by an athletic standpoint, the guys are so talented that they'll make some of these matches work.
Yeah.
And then I think, but to push back at it too, WWE over the course of this, and you mentioned it, like over the course of like 10 years, probably more so, is like they've made these WrestleManias. They made you expect to have these legends come back and
you
wrestle.
Were conditioned to it.
You were conditioned to
that
it.
idea. Yeah.
So that expectation they created, and to their own detriment too, they haven't done their best at creating new stars. So so they put that water level high, and finally, if that gets stripped away, like it's going to pretty much. I mean, you're still getting Edge, and you're still getting the intriguing aspects of like a celebrity being involved, but it's that you have that taken away from you. That you're not living up to the expectations that you created for yourself. So I mean, I don't think it's going to be the worst WrestleMania by any sort of the imagination. Simply to your fact that we are getting fans back, and that's going to be a special moment in itself. So, no, I mean, not going to be the worst one, but WWE created this problem for themselves in the grand scheme of things too.
But mind you, when you got The Rock 10 years ago, did you think this was going to be a problem 10 years later? You know what I mean? Are you going to say no to having The Rock?
No, you're not.
Yeah,
you're not.
So it's circumstantial.
But if you do it, and Vince has relied year in and year out on legacy stars to headline his WrestleMania, while he did not promote guys throughout the years too that he really should have. Like, oh, let's make the most of other guys. So
I agree.
Yeah,
and it's none of it's easy to pull off. Also, this is WrestleMania where the expectations are infinitely heightened. like Fastlane could have been, and Fastlane I thought was a fine show. Thought it was fine.
Heck, I'm going to make a prediction right now, Kev. We are going to see Becky Lynch, I think, in some form or fashion at this WrestleMania.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be a perfect way to come back.
I think we're going to see something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be rad. I would like that. Maybe a Ronda Rousey if they still have her available. I know people have brought up the Ronda Rousey return her contract coming up sometime in April. So there's been plenty of debates about that. If she wrestles again, I think it would be in WWE. I would think
so.
I would think so as well. So we got the debate all the time. Plenty coming up. You'll have two dynamite dudes with attitudes. That is our AEW focus show with your brother and your brother. Your brother Marcus is also doing this wonderful thing. I've binged through a couple of episodes. We've talked about doing one as well.
Yes.
This is our bingeable thing where it takes us completely out of wrestling as you know it now, where we're talking about what's going on now, what's coming up, what's in the next few weeks. And sometimes these shows are potato chips. You eat them and they're gone. Whereas we have this thing that is a tree that replenishes itself with fantasy. It is our fantasy booking show, WCW Rewritten. We have 6 episodes of it up right now. You can go on any of our video channels on YouTube, on our podcast, and go check it out. I say go look at it in YouTube because you can actually binge them all and just get them in order. And it's basically like, let's rewrite WCW from Starrcade 1997 when they broke through them. They were absolutely huge. And let's rewrite it. And you guys have gone in some really, really weird directions, making matches that didn't happen but feel really cool because you're working with the players that were there at the time.
working with players that were there at the time or had the potential to be there. So we're not like Marcus is being very specific and not pulling talents from WWE and just like throwing them in there. It's like available talents, that name talents that were on the indies. If he thinks they could fit in a certain role for that particular week or whatever, he'll put them in there. And he's done that several times. But he's also like, repositioned guys, reimagined certain things. So like a perfect example, like a big highlight here throughout the 6 episodes has been Eddie Guerrero, who has still has a faction. It's not the LWO, it's Los Latinos. And so he kind of goes from that.
Give them a little bit more respect.
Give them a little bit more respect, and not just like this pseudo NWO group. But he also he positions Eddie in a certain way. And so the big match, one of the big matches for Sold Out, which is our latest episode, is Eddie Guerrero versus Roddy Piper. And he had a very good build to those guys. And he keeps a lot of things too. So like Ric Flair is still fighting Bret Hart at Sold Out. And certain things that worked, he's keeping. And certain things that didn't work or weren't necessarily best route to take, he's readjusting. And it's really cool. He not only covers matches, like he goes through the details of the matches, but he cuts promos and writes them out, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're a WCW fan and you kind of just were like, oh, you fantasy booked in your head, oh, I would love to see Chris Jericho go this route, or Dean Malenko or somebody, it's a really good way to kind of just binge and enjoy.
It's a fun escape. It's put the pen in your hand. What would you do? Like, I think is a fun question to have with people. And also it's fun to tell someone like, that's a dumb idea. There's some stuff where I've been listening to, I'm like, and I love your brother and stuff like that. We've done some shows with the three of us. I was like, come on, Marcus, what are you doing? You got this guy sitting here right here, and now you get the pressure. You get the pressure of being. And
I push back a little bit too at some of his one decision that he makes during Sold Out. Like, there's a couple of things I'm like, oh, well, why would that happen? Like,
don't give it away to me. But what is a booking decision that your brother Marcus has made? Because he's doing this now, right?
Yes.
And he's doing this, and you just kind of take the ride with him, and it gets revealed to you, and you react. When has he done something? And just tell me the person he did it with. Don't tell me exactly what he did. But when has he booked something that was completely different from what it originally was, right? Okay. And you just went like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you do that? Has there been something where you like smarked on him really hard?
I would say, at this Sold Out show that he's done. It's with the Giant. Something that he did with the Giant that I was like, what? I don't know.
If you want to get mad, you want to get nerd raged.
Yeah. So,
and it plays on it scratches all those itches, man.
It does. It very much does. I'm sure people will be like, what the fuck is that? Or like, people will be like, oh, hey, that's a great idea. Because he brings in some surprise names like that. You were like, what the fuck is he doing? But, he explains his reasoning, and he makes it. So, like, benefit of hindsight, but there has to be contractual, like, availability. You cannot, he's not going to pull The Rock. He's not going to pull Val Venus, or he's not going to pull, like, just these random names and throw them in there. But these talents have to be available on the indies for him to utilize, and he makes the most of it. It's pretty cool. So I think people really like it.
And those drop every Thursday. So
every Thursday, and, like, it's Sold Out. This is a good time to tune in if you haven't, because it's going to be like soap opera where it's almost you can tune in any time and just go right from there. So it's
like we've been saying, go binge them.
Go binge in the back. Listen to a bunch. We create the playlist on SoundCloud.
It's completely out of sync. Like, we have a playlist where you can just listen to it, and we just wanted something that like felt like it was a complete escape, almost like when you pull up the network and you just want to be able to watch something old,
right, and
see it as it was. Oh, I never saw those. I heard what happened, but I don't. That's what we're going for. Yes. So definitely check that out. We'll have plenty of extra content in the week ahead, and WrestleMania week. What are we going to do there? That's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be nuts. Boy, we're gonna have to figure something out there. So it's gonna be a whole lot here. And then if NXT's moving to Tuesdays, what are we doing here? So we're gonna have a lot of angry wives and girlfriends.
Not only that, but the potential for that second AEW show at some point or another too.
Which is that there's just so much here, and we're pushing it here. We're gonna figure it all out. Give us a follow on all the different apps. If you're, I know a lot of people check us out on Facebook, but if you haven't done it, we have plenty on our YouTube, same as that, and Twitch. I'm now doing I'm playing Retromania.
Yeah, you were playing, weren't you?
I'm not good at the game. I'm really not good at the game. I'm pretty decent at it. I'm playing it like slightly. It's not like easy, medium, hard, but you can just like move it up a notch.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I've gotten a little bit better at it. Some of the sequences are pretty hard to like nail
Who's your
down.
go-to guy so far? Is there?
I've been using Johnny Retro, which is John
Okay.
Morrison, and Jeff Cobb. I like.
Oh,
I'm playing as Jeff Cobb in the 10 pounds of gold, and I'm having some real issues. And then I did the stream and I lost the matches I was trying to play in the 10 pounds of gold. You're going like you go through. It's a spiritual sequel to WrestleFest. So on WrestleFest, the big thing was you went to the tag team titles and you tried to take on the Road Warriors, right? So in this, you go through the ranks and you try to win the NWA belt. And so I'm trying to do that, and I'm losing to like Hollywood Nova because I can't get the sequence down. And I have Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb could destroy Hollywood Nova from ECW, right? And I'm just like, come on, I gotta give him the tour of the islands. I can suplex this guy into next week, and I can't get the sequence down. And that's what happened on the stream. And then I was like, I went, I ate, and I picked it up. And then I got a great sequence on this guy. And once you get the momentum in the game, that's what's really makes it go. I was like, why couldn't I do this when I was streaming?
Right.
I couldn't do this when I was streaming.
What the heck? Pressure's not on.
Yeah, pressure's not on. So yeah, if you want to see me not play wrestling games good, check out our Twitch. We also have all of our podcasts on our Twitch as well, if you're just a Twitch person.
Oh, great.
And for the people that are listening to the podcast audio of this, you listen to 50 minutes of this. Thank you so much. You guys have given us a great upsurge. I know this is the time of year when people start to jump back into wrestling right before WrestleMania. Maybe this is the time where you're only listening that time of year. Subscribe to our podcast. If you don't follow wrestling, we'll clue you in. You're still at the virtual couch with us. Everyone is getting us on the charts in Europe and Asia. The nation island of Anguilla, a very small island, has put us number 5. We were ahead of Stone Cold Steve Austin. On the Anguilla Apple Sports chart. Very small islands. Cyprus, you better believe we're back on the charts in Cyprus. Small little territories. All right, that's what we're going for. All right, we want to be the big heavyweight.
Untapped market.
We want to be a heavyweight in 205 Live, baby. That's what we want to be. We want to be the big. We want to be where the big pods play.
That's right.
Little guys. We don't be Jeff Cobb giving suplexes to James Ellsworth or something like that.
Hollywood Nova.
Hollywood Nova. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Dominic, as well. We will be bald and beautiful drinking beers at some StarCast in the future, won't we?
It'll happen.
It'll be great. Give them a follow on the Twitter machine. Give me a follow as well. And remember, when watching wrestling, Dominic, tell them what they got to do.
Hey, you know what, guys? Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.